Hi, today I'd like to talk about using, in my opinion, one of the greatest plasma TVs ever made in 2025. Is it still a viable option to get one? Almost, 15 years after its original release. Well, maybe not 15, as it was released in 2013, so 12 years later after its original release. So let's dive into it. Let's talk about the features now. The VT60 flagship plasma TV from Panasonic was a smart TV, as we can see, released alongside the ST60, GT60 and later ZT60. It was one of the top spec models that you could buy back then. The TV has a wide selection of apps that you can use to view shows, YouTube videos, browse the internet and other stuff. We can also download some apps from the Viera market. Let's try to open it right now. As we can see, it still works today, which is very interesting, since I would have figured that the servers for the Smart TV Viera platform would have been long gone by today. Unfortunately, in my country, Poland, we didn't get a lot of apps for the Smart TV Viera market. So in United States you're gonna probably see more apps here, but here in Poland the selection is quite limited. We can see that we have some video and movie apps, Netflix, YouTube, Megogo, that's a TV streaming platform, but we also have some bloatware like Fireplace, which is just an app that streams a YouTube video displaying a fireplace in very low quality actually. So as we all move on to the music section, you can see that we still have TuneIn Radio, Shortcast Radio and some kind of Tuba FM radio. I never used it, so I'm not really sure what that radio app does. Probably stream music, but who knows. We can play games on this TV. That's also, I would classify that as bloatware, because who would want to play games on their TV? But that's a perfect time to mention that the TV came with 3 options of interacting with the screen. We had the normal TV remote, which included backlighting, so you can see it in the dark. Right now you can't see the backlight, but it is there and it turns on when you press the light button. The second option was the touchpad remote with microphone. A very futuristic way back in 2013 to interact with the TV, as you could swipe the touchpad to move the cursor on the screen, as you can see. And the third way, that to me is the most impressive, is the Viera touch pen. This thing is a stylus for the TV that allows you to draw on it and play games. It works by It works by utilizing induction. Under the plasma panel there is a layer of coils that interact with the coil in the pen's tip. There is also a button on the tip to know when you press it on the screen. So when you press it on the screen, the coils using induction localize the pen on the screen and read that input as a click or a drag for drawing, right? So we can continue to the section that's called touch pen. You can see there are some games that seem to be targeted for the younger audience, but they utilize the touch pen, and they were a great show-off back in the 2013. Nowadays, probably also useless. I'd say that the entire smart TV is very limited those days, because even the Netflix app lags a lot. It's very stuttery, struggling to play 1080p Full HD movies. As I didn't mention that the TV is a Full HD 1920 by 1080p 50-inch panel, also supporting 3D, but we will move on to that later. We have some matrimony apps, maybe for the older audience now. Some news and weather channel, health and fitness section, and others, like the web browser and the development apps. So maybe there is a way to still develop some apps for that TV. We can actually check. I think the newest app for the TV is the Megogo TV app. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's actually from 2012. I wonder if it's still supported today, because it's a very popular choice when it comes to IPTV in Poland. So yeah. So actually, not a lot of apps. The YouTube is still updated, but it also works. I'd compare it to a Xbox 360 version of YouTube. That's the type of performance you're gonna get. So not too bad, but could be better, right? Let's go back home. The most interesting feature of this TV, for me, is the pop-up camera. Back in 2015, 2013, 2014, you could use Skype to video call from that TV. Unfortunately, nowadays the Skype service for TV has been shut down, and I don't think it even figures in the app section. Yeah, it's not even here. But we can use this camera, for example, to record a video message for your family member. We press this and we press OK. When I press OK, a camera is going to pop up from the top of the TV. Actually, the camera inside is connected by a standard USB bus. So technically, if you connected a PC to the plasma, to the Panasonic Plasma, you could route out the USB cable from inside of the TV to plug the camera into your laptop. I've tried that and it does work. The camera still pops up when you activate the camera on your PC. You can use it for video calling and everything else. It's recognized as a standard USB camera, so you don't need any drivers using modern versions of macOS, Linux or Windows. So let's try it. It's pretty high, but you can adjust the angle here. You can see now the camera is recording. The delay on the TV is pretty big, but You can see the video quality is pretty clear. I think it's a VGA quality camera, so not very impressive, but a fun feature. The later ZT60 Plasma TV, the flagship model, removed that feature. So the VT60 is the only plasma TV from Panasonic with an integrated webcam. Earlier you could use an accessory to connect a webcam to it, but it wasn't, as neat as a pop-up camera. Unfortunately, it doesn't retract on its own, so you need to push it down and latch it back into the place. We can check the quality of the video now. You can see now the camera is recording. The delay on the TV is pretty big, but you can see the video quality is pretty clear. I think it's a VGA quality camera. Okay, as you probably saw, it works great. Let's delete that video. Yes, I do. And return back to home. Right now, I would like to also mention that all of the artifacts that you're seeing, rolling vertical bars or discolorations of the PDP panel, are the result of mismatched shutter speed on my camera to the subfield drive of the plasma panel. It is not visible in real life, and actually in real life the plasma display looks amazing. I kid you not. I was able to calibrate it to delta E 2000 of 0.5 when it comes to white balance with my i1 Display Pro colorimeter, and it's just stunning, after 12 years what this TV can do. It also features a CMS management system that allows you to change each color by itself, also including cyan, magenta and yellow. 10-point gamma, as I said before. 2.1 white balance, and when we go to more detailed adjustment, 10-point white balance. Red gain, green gain and blue gain, right? It also features intelligent frame creation, so basically a feature that makes the video feed look smoother. As I mentioned, there is an option to calibrate the panel with a colorimeter, and I used Kalman for that, and actually I'm gonna show you a neat feature. Kalman works automatically with this display panel. Of course, manual calibration is much better, and that's what I used, but if you're lazy or if you don't have the skill to calibrate the TV by yourself, you can go into lock settings option and then for pin enter, that's very important, I085. If you enter I085 as the pin, there will be another option shown here. For any other pin, this option won't be shown. The option is ISF CCC network. If you press that, it will wait for a connection from Kalman to the plasma panel, and then you can proceed with automatic calibration. This is very nice, saves a lot of time, and as I say, it's not the best when you compare it to a manual calibration, but it's still amazing and much better than the default professional modes that were THX certified. Yeah, let's talk about those. THX modes were supposed to be the greatest picture you're gonna see on this panel, but the thing with them is that they were applied the same to each panel that left the factory, and each panel wasn't the same because plasma panels are much different. Even the same model plasma panel can be much different when it comes to the colors. So each panel needs to be calibrated independently. With THX Cinema, they copied the calibration from one panel to the other. Caused on some TVs the image looked perfect, on some it looked reddish, and on some it looked greenish. On mine it looks very red, and it's not the plasma panel getting older, because the red phosphorus is the one that is degrading the slowest on the plasma panel. So with age the plasma panel will get red. But here, with this panel not having much over 11,000 hours, the THX red tint issue is just how it, left the factory. I am not the first owner of this plasma panel, and I'd like to underline panel, because the entire TV, my family was the first owner of it, but the panel was unfortunately damaged with overheating, because back, those 10 years ago, my parents never really cleaned the ventilation vents on the back, because the TV has vents on the back, with fans to circulate the air around, because the panel gets really hot. In summer it can be tiring to sit in front of the TV, because it gets so hot in the room. So my parents never really cleaned the fans, and that led to panel overheating, causing red spots, red big blobs on the panel. If you put an all-white pattern on the TV, you would see big red blobs everywhere. Unfortunately, that panel was gone, even though it only had 20,000 hours. So I was able to source an identical VT60 with a damaged A board, so the main CPU board of the TV. I switched the panels between them, and now the TV looks amazing. Of course, I transplanted the EEPROM values from one TV to the other, so the amount of hours on the panel is correct in the service menu, even though the panel was replaced and the board stayed the same. Yes, and one more feature with the camera: if you have multiple users in your household, just like I did a few years ago, each of you can set his own home screen. You can download more home screens from the Viera store, and then you can either switch like that by pressing the home button and scrolling between the home screens, but you can also go select a home screen, and then after your parents are finished watching, you use the voice control feature of the touchpad remote. There is a microphone on the touchpad remote, and you can use it to give voice commands to the TV. For example, volume up. It doesn't work the best. Let's remember this was 2013 and a TV, not a smartphone. Volume up. You can see it sometimes works, but the best feature was my home screen. And the TV will recognize my face and automatically switched to my home screen after recognizing my face. Like I said, you need to retract the camera manually after you're done using it. You can also use the DLNA server to stream your shows or music from your home server. Let's go, for example, to music on my DLNA server. It will show reading, and then we can select, for example, American Idiot, Boulevard of Broken Dreams, and when I open it, I'm gonna play a short snippet because I don't want to get copyright strikes. But you can see I'm gonna talk over the music so I don't get copyright striked, but you can see the audio comes through naturally. Nothing's plugged into the TV right now, and it's all just being streamed from my TV DLNA server on my attic. You can also plug up to 3 USB drives into the back of the TV. One of those USB ports being a USB 3.0 high-speed port. And you can also use an HD XC card up to 64 GB in capacity. So very impressive. Let's talk about the specs right now. So the panel that Panasonic used here is what they called a Neo Plasma Black 3000. So with the VT60 series, the black levels were amazing. It comes as close to an OLED as you're gonna get without getting a Pioneer Kuro series plasma TV. It has a 3000 Hz subfield drive, and you have to remember that subfield drive does not equal the refresh rate. The subfield drive basically is the amount of times per second your plasma panel refreshes, and it can refresh, for example, as is the case with this one, 3000 times per second. So 3,000 times per second it's gonna flash, because the plasma panel doesn't give off a steady light. It works with bursts of light. It first shows red, then blue, then blue, then green. Red, blue, green. And it flashes those images with those colors by itself very fast, in this case 3000 times per second, to produce the image we see. Also, it has 30,720 shades of gradation, so the dithering isn't very visible, but it's still there. That's definitely a drawback when it comes to plasma panels, is when you sit closer to them, you can see the dithering in the colors, so basically a fine sand-like pattern when you shade the colors. It has active 3D shutter glasses, and 2 were included when it was brand new. I still have the original pair, and I'm gonna show you how they work in just a second. It has 2 front-facing speakers. They are hidden in the bezel, right here, right there. And also a subwoofer at the back. It has an amazing sound quality, but as you can see, I upgraded to something better and connected my DAC using a Toslink cable. The built-in speaker output in total is 20 watts RMS. You have the camera integration, as I mentioned, the smart TV options. Yes, and you can also use a TV remote app. That was the first TV that Panasonic released that supported a TV remote app. You can download an app that's called Viera Remote 2 from iOS App Store or Android Google Play Store, and you can connect over Wi-Fi, or if the TV is connected over Ethernet, then the TV over Ethernet and your phone on the Wi-Fi. I'd like to also mention that the TV supports 5 GHz Wi-Fi, so very fast internet connection for streaming the shows you love. You can control the TV with your phone if you're lazy and don't want to get up from the couch, or if you lost your TV remote. Okay, it also supports Miracast to mirror the contents of your Android smartphone screen, but I don't think, like the newest phones, they don't even have Miracast those days. It was a feature that allowed you basically to mirror your screen like Apple AirPlay those days, you know, to your TV screens. DLNA 1.5 to anybody interested. It has it has a dual tuner, so allows you to record and at the same time watch a different channel, because this TV has a satellite tuner, a cable tuner, and a over-the-air broadcast tuner. It does support DVB-2, DVB-2, DVB-C, and DVB-S and S2 standards. It doesn't support DVB-T2, so over-the-air broadcast in Poland is unfortunately not possible to receive, as we switched like 3 years ago to DVB-T2, digital over-the-air broadcast system. It has a teletext system, and I don't think anybody uses that nowadays. You can use a CI interface card to watch some paid channels over the satellite or cable. The average power consumption of this TV is huge, because it comes out to around 800 watts on the after I calibrated it. So yeah, if you change the panel luminance setting to high, right now it's on medium, giving around 95 nits. If you change it to high and turn on the 3D, it can get the power usage up to actually 1000 watts. So that TV is really power hungry, and it does show up on the, you know, bills. The mounting system on the back is not VESA compatible, but a lot of TV hanging brackets support it. It weighs 32 kilograms with stand and 26 kilograms without. Yes. Also, if you wanted a brighter TV, you would get a ST60, right? But in Europe, actually, not a lot of people know about this. We had a model that utilized the VT60 processing capabilities and the ST60 non-laminated panel that was way brighter but had worse black levels. And that TV is the Panasonic GT60 series, so it's basically the best of both worlds. But I'm gonna stick to my VT60, as I love watching the TV shows during the night on it, as you know, it just looks so stunning. Playing games on my Wii, Mario Kart, Super Mario Galaxy, watching TV shows from Netflix. I have my Chromecast connected to it. Everything like that, you know, it's just so impressive. I'm not gonna, you know, say that it's better than an OLED, because it's not. The OLED panels are using much less energy. They don't heat up as much. Right now, me sitting here, I'm getting sweaty on the back just because of the heat radiating from the panel. It's actually very hot to touch. I'm not gonna touch it because I don't want fingerprints sticking on it, but it gets really hot, and that's just, you know, some of the drawbacks when it comes to plasma versus OLED TVs. OLED TVs also have infinite dark, you know, infinite blacks, because they can turn off the pixel. Plasma TVs can't. They have something called the sustain voltage that always powers the plasma pixel just a bit, so it can quickly go to the lit up state from the black state. As plasma panels got better, this one being one of the last plasma panels ever manufactured, yeah, I'm not gonna say it's better than an OLED, but it certainly has some features. For example, the motion clarity. The motion clarity on this TV is just stunning. It can be comparable to a TV with a stroboscope backlighting. A TV with a strobe backlight will flash many times, synchronized to the refresh rate, so it will flash for every frame to make the image look smoother and your brain fill in the missing frames. The plasma TV by itself actually, like I said before, uses flashes to display images, so it actually sort of works in the same way as a strobe backlight panel, but Here it's much more natural, yeah, natural, and it's just impressive for gaming, like gaming on consoles like Nintendo Wii, Xbox 360, PS3, or even Xbox One or PS4 can be amazing. I still remember when I was way younger and I played Minecraft on my Xbox One when we got this TV back in 2013. I think that's all I'd like to touch on today. I can also demo you the 3D glasses and how they work, because the TV you can view a 3D video feed, a specifically prepared one like a 3D Blu-ray or a 3D side-by-side image streamed from your DLNA server or your USB stick. Or you can use a 2D to 3D conversion, which uses the smart learning of the CPU inside to separate the background from the foreground. I can press 3D and you can see the image separated. Then I would pair these glasses to the TV. I can put them on, hold the button. If I move back, it will use infrared to connect the glasses with the TV. But I actually think those ones are... Okay, no, I thought they were discharged. It doesn't seem like that. Yeah, those can be a bit finicky. I think these ones are actually discharged, so let me grab the other ones. I have two pairs. Yes, and the other ones is paired just fine. And when I put them on, I can see the bear on this National Geographic documentary standing out. I can see the depth of the image. And actually Active 3D is very impressive because it's not just like your normal passive 3D where stuff can go out the front, but with passive 3D actually the image looks so real. I can reach into the TV. I can see the depth as well as the things getting forward up to me. I will put the 3D glasses in front of the camera so you can see that in the 3D glasses I can see the video feed normally. It is flickery. I don't know if it's visible to the camera, but the camera glasses are flickering very fast. And they are polarized, so when I rotate them they can obstruct the view of LCD screens. But yeah, as simple as that. So yeah, I think that's all I would like to touch on today about the VT60 Panasonic Plasma TV. Would I recommend it in 2025? If you have the place to keep it, you can get anywhere from the 50-inch to the 65-inch model. If you have the place to keep it, go ahead and buy it. But remember the electricity. Remember it consumes a lot of electricity. You remember to look if it has burn-in, because plasma panels do burn in. Those ones, not so much as the early ones because of all of the safety features like pixel shifting and the screensaver features when you leave it on study images too long. But they can still get the TV station logos burnt in, so I would recommend looking for that. And to prevent image retention after a long session of gaming or other stuff that can show a solid HUD elements on the screen that can get burnt in, to prevent image retention, I recommend using the screen wipe option that's hidden in the settings. Here, scrolling bar. After long sessions of gaming or watching TV with a lot of logos like news channels, I would recommend opening the scrolling bar and allowing all of the image retention to disappear, like that. But remember, image retention is not burning. If something is burned into the TV, it's there forever. You're not gonna get it off with any sort of a screen wipe or something like that. No YouTube video claiming to fix your burn-in on your plasma TV is ever gonna fix that. If you can make the stuff on the screen that's permanent disappear, it wasn't burning, it was image retention. So I would just like you to know that you can't get rid of burn-in. So if you see one that's heavily burnt in, do not buy it. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, yada yada. And yeah, visit our plasma subreddit at r/plasma TVs. I recommend you join if you love plasma TVs like I do. There is a lot of people there that will connect with you because we all love plasma TVs there. So, see you in the next video. Bye bye.